Hi, this is Elliot with WattWerks. On this week's video, I'm going to show you how to trunk mount your battery and run all your cables for an E36 rally car. So the reason we're moving our battery to the trunk is because of weight distribution. The OEM location for the 318 Ti, the battery is located up front in front of the passenger, on the passenger side. I'm going to move it here to the back, keep it on the passenger side because I want more weight in the rear end. It's a rear-wheel drive rally car. The more weight I can have shifted back to the rear of the car, the better, because I'm going to get a lot more traction. So between having the battery mounted back here, spare tire, all my med kit, spill kit, and anything else that I put in here like tools, that'll help shift a lot of the weight to the rear of the car, and that will help with traction on the gravel. So first thing is, I already installed the so you'll see here I already have the battery box installed. I got this battery box from a buddy at work. It was an extra one out of their chump car. So he gave me this. I mounted it to one of the frame rails back here that extend out to go to the bumper. I just welded on two pieces of like 6" by 2" steel plate on top of the frame rail. I'll show you a close-up here in a little bit. So I got that mounted. The OEM 318 Ti battery is too large to fit in this battery box, so I'm going to probably have to switch to a different type of battery and one designed for a 328i, not a 318 Ti, because I am running a 328 M52 engine in this. So, going to have to change battery down the line. A, more cranking amperage, and B, so it fits in my battery box here. So the next thing I gotta do is I gotta take this battery cable kit, I'm gonna unbox it, and I'm gonna extend out the cable and show you where I run it, how I make all my connections. You can pick up these, what is it, a 20 or a 2 gauge battery kit. I got this off of Summit Racing. It was like 60 or $100. It's not bad. I mean, it's a lot of money, but it's copper. Copper's expensive. So let's get started. Alright, so what I purchased off of Summit Racing was an excess power batteries. It is a 2 gauge single battery racing wiring kit. So what it includes is, we'll open her up. It includes terminals, attachments. Comes with a short black, that's your ground. Doesn't have to run far. It comes with, I forget how long it was, I think it's like 20 feet of our power cable, or our positive lead. So this will run all the way up to the front of the car. What else we got in here? So it came with lugged connections, came with grommets for going through a firewall, and it looks like it came with some shrink wrap, like or heat shrink sleeving. And it also came with some little, they're like little cable hooks. So it's like a little U shape with 2 little holes. That's everything that comes with it. These seem alright, but they don't seem very hardy. I went and bought a kit from, before I bought this kit, I went and bought these copper battery lugs and these battery terminals from AutoZone. So these are a lot more hardy, so I'm probably going to use these over these. These are just simple little plastic and sheet metal. These are actually solid aluminum, so most likely going to go with these. Alrighty, so this is just a simple little battery box. I got it from my buddy at work. It's off of their chump car. It was an extra one or something. He already kind of cut slots in it. I don't know why. Probably for running their cables. But yeah, it's just a typical universal battery box. You can get them all over the internet. Dirt cheap. You can buy full kits that include this and the wiring cables. But this is the one we're going to use. Whenever you put the battery inside, you put these little ends clip, and then you run like a ratchet strap up and over through this slot right here. So I don't know if you can see it, but basically this part of the frame extends back to here, and this is where the bumper mounts. It's hollow underneath. I welded 2 plates. They're like 2" by about 6 or 8 inches long, and I welded 2 on there, and then I used self-tapping sheet metal screws and washers and drilled through the battery box, and I also pre-drilled those plates and mounted the battery box to those plates. So this thing is not going anywhere. It's very well mounted. So next thing to do, we're going to start from the back, work our way forward. I'm probably going to try and figure out what's the best way to run the battery cable so it's out of the way. Probably going to run it up along here, go to the center, and run it along the transmission tunnel. So that's next. Now, if I run it over from there, we'll be playing room. So the battery used to sit here, and the stock wiring harness, all the cables are cut to run to this location as well, especially for the positive leads. The ground, you can just run it to wherever. Alright, so now I'm going to find a useful hole in the firewall, and we're gonna poke this bad boy through and send her home. Alrighty, so it is now Friday, and I went shopping for a few things since I last filmed. The segment before this was on Wednesday about where I ran my cables, and the segments before that were on Monday. So it's Friday now, it's the weekend, and I'm going to bash out the rest of this project and finish up this video tonight. So tonight I went to the auto parts store. As I mentioned earlier in the video, the battery that I had did not fit in this box. So I went back to AutoZone and said, hey, I bought this box or this battery a couple months ago. I just used it the other week for a couple minutes and it does not fit in my application. Can I swap it? And they said, yes, you can swap it. You're still under warranty. You just have to pay the difference. So I got this smaller battery that does fit in this box, and they owed me $16, which helped pay for all this stuff. So I got a fresh oil change for the M52, Bosch filter, royal purple oil, and then I also picked up this little battery switch that I will mount up in the cockpit. So now that I got all of these goodies, let's put them in the race car. Fits like a frickin' glove. So we got our disconnect switch. So what you do is you get your fingernail in here. This comes off. The inside here is 2 switches or 2 poles with bolted connections. We have our lugs here for our cables. So what I'm going to do is figure out the orientation that I want this mounted in the car. And then you have 4 punch outs along the sides of this, and then you will knock out the appropriate ones, and then your cables will run, say, in here, out here, or whatever, like so. So let's go find a spot in the car where we want to put this. Alrighty, so we got our switch. This is where we want to mount it. This is just sheet metal here, so it's easy to just sheet metal screw this on right here. It's going to be easy to access with the hatch open, and it's halfway between this solid ground connection, which is a threaded part where the seat belts used to connect, and the negative terminal. So that'll go there. Nice location, works out very well. I want to put the quick disconnect on the positive side because the way the electricity flows, the way you want to energize, not energize the car. Plus, if you're in a wreck and this were to get broken, you don't want this. You don't want the positive side to ground out against the sheet metal in the chassis. I got 3 feet of negative cable, and I only need about 6 inches to go from this stud to this switch. So I'm going to cut this about 1 inch long, maybe 2 inches long, because there's plenty of cable to go from here to here. So, and I'd rather things be a little longer than too short. So I'm going to hack off about 8 inches of this negative cable, and we'll start crimping things up and test fit it all before I put in the rest of the rest of the holes. So a cool trick I've learned, since I don't have a heat gun or a hair dryer or anything, if you're really delicate, you can use a propane torch. You can also use a lighter, like a cigarette lighter, to put on these heat shrinks. Boom. Alright, now let's put these on. This side goes on here. Warning, it might be hot. Since I'm a welder, I really don't have any feeling left in my hands anymore, which is scary, but kind of nice for applications like this. I don't feel heat. It's all relative. Fun fact, these are 11/16. Alright, so now that's all hooked up. Battery died in a Nikon while I was, right after I finished installing the ground or negative side of the battery. So while that was charging, I figured I'd go ahead and just run the positive side, and now I'm going to show you what all I did. As you can see here, I have the ground cable or negative side of the battery ran down, up, and over to my switch, which is currently in the off position, which runs to that ground stud there. Then I have the positive side ran from here up, down, and I used all my cable leads that come, OEM cable leads, and then one zip tie to run it down and around with this cable here. I ran under the passenger seat, up and through the firewall. So let me move all this crap. So as far as the firewall goes, there's a little hole up there for the OEM, all those wires to go through, or all the OEM wires to go through. And there was no way this 1/2 inch diameter cable was going to fit through that hole. So I had to drill a new hole. So there's 2 punch outs here for where the German, or I'm sorry, not the German, they drive on the right side of the road. So for countries there where they drive on the left side of the road and the passenger sitting on the right side, there's punch outs here for the pedals. So at the bottom of one of those punch outs, I drilled a 5/8 hole, which is big enough for a nice rubber grommet, and to fit this positive 1/2 inch battery cable through. I want to build a bus bar that runs this way or this way, that all of these can connect to, and then I can connect all the accessories I have, fans, lights, you name it. I will be able to plug into that. So next step, probably when I build the light bar, I'm going to build a bus bar up here for this instead of this 1/2 hillbilly connection here. Woo! Look at this big ass spider. Wow! Got him! So, if you own an E36 318 Ti, that's how you install a battery box, battery and disconnect switch, and run it all for an M52 swap. That's everything there. I'm going to show you now that it actually works. So as you can see here, off position, I'd come up here, turn the key, nothing. Turn the key off, pull it out, come back here, turn that on. As you can see, it's nice and it says on in bright yellow, which I kind of like. We come back up here, put the key in, and everything powers up. And the car, unfortunately, still won't start all the way up. It'll fire up for about a second and then turn off. Just like that. It's super, super disappointing because I was really hoping all the new battery connections would have helped. So that's where we end this week's video. So this is Elliot from WattWerks, and that is how I install a battery box, battery cables, and battery disconnect. That's it from the WattWerks garage this week. Remember to check out my website, wattwerksfabrication.com. Also check me out on Instagram and Facebook. Both are WattWerks. There's lots of videos to come. Lots of videos I've already done, so go check out all those videos. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I got a lot coming and a long summer full of racing and getting this car sideways. So stay tuned for lots of adventures and lots of how-tos, and thanks for watching.